he's managed to hold on and they get
He
back
missed
on
the
his
flip complete. It's crazy
Side by
stuff.
side, Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway that plays host to round 13 of 18 on a Season 2 championship for the LionHeart IndyCar Series on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Up at a GSRC broadcast booth this evening, as always, alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, is Sean Ambrose, and our director this evening is Amjad Yaman. Camera sets, as always, are provided by Dougie Beard. And Sean, we're back at it. We're back at an oval track. This race was supposed to be earlier on in our season, got delayed, and the official iRacing IndyCar Series has been here all week, so these guys have had multiple ways to get out there and practice. They don't call it Hot Atlanta for no reason, though, although the weather really only sitting at 78 degrees Fahrenheit in the Atlanta area. That track temperature up at 104. It's going to be hot, it's going to be slick, and it's going to be full throttle all the way around for this evening's Bandit 125.
220 plus miles an hour around this 1.5 mile track, Evan, and yeah, we're going to see a fast, slick track out there tonight, and it will be an interesting race with about 23 to 25 cars starting this thing tonight. We are going to have an exciting race on tap here for round 13 in the LionHeart Series. Great race a couple weeks ago at Watkins Glen. They took a week off to get ready for this one. They've had plenty of time to prepare. Several winners in the official iRacing series this week. They have been practicing hard, and they are all ready to go. It'll probably get pretty tense pretty quick out here tonight, Evan.
Yeah, Atlanta, again, like the majority, or rather all of these 1.5-mile speedways that we go to, these cars just handle so well when you throw them out on an oval. When you give them banking like this Atlanta Motor Speedway has, they can do a lot with them, but that comes as well with the restrictions, and we talk about it every time, is that push. And, you know, you go in there with a couple of cars, if there's 3 of you, you might be okay, but once you get a whole lot of people, all that dirty air, it is very difficult to navigate this racetrack all the way out. Now, they're doing it when they're out there in their single car runs. They're doing it right now in practice. So far as practice, our, as always, 2-hour practice session this evening is coming to a close. It is Carl Burke. How about that? The 027 car up atop of the board with a 24.230. Qualifying going to be getting it away, as always, in just about 2.5 minutes. That's going to be a 5-minute closed qualifier, but we're looking at lap times right now. Every single person in the 22 cars that has put down a time so far, sub 25 seconds. Atlanta is 1.54 miles long. This evening's race, which will clock in at 84 laps, is in excess of 125 miles from green to checker in this. So we know it's going to be fast. We know it's going to be high paced. But as well, when you're going out there at 220 miles an hour, and we talk about it all the time, we've gone to racetracks like this so far. We've been to places like Kentucky before, Texas, Infineon, Chicagoland, or rather Homestead, and then Chicagoland as well. These 1.5s, which make up the majority of the oval side of things. They know what to expect now. And, you know, when we go into Chicagoland earlier in the season, one thing we said, Sean, is it's a little bit different because the back straightaway is curved. When we went into Texas, we said it's a little bit different because it's a little bit of a wider racing surface. By the time we reach tonight, where it's round 13 of 18 in this championship, these guys know how to prepare for it. They know what kind of mentality they have to take into it. And I think you're going to see a lot more guys being aggressive because they know the limitations of these cars a little bit more than maybe some of the earlier times we visited these intermediate speedways.
Yeah, I agree with you, Evan, but you know what we've got playing in here tonight is, guess what? We're already to round 13, 18 races in this season. This season's now winding down, if you will. We are racing to the finish. Jesse Vincent hot under the collar right now. He's got company up there, people nipping at his heels for this championship, and everybody's going to be out there fighting tonight. And I do expect 3 wide plenty of times tonight. Seen these guys run pretty smooth here. Watched a bit of the practice race last night. They've proven they can run for long green flag runs. If they do that here, you know, that entry to pit road is pretty tricky under green flag conditions, and you got to come out on the backstretch tonight. That's what the league is calling for. Everybody's got to exit that pit lane on the backstretch. So green flag pit stops will be premium if we get those green flag runs tonight, Evan.
Buddy, we're looking at a 3-car battle right now, and 1 car ducks to the apron. We've been following him. That was Trevor Malone. We talked about that championship. Jesse Vincent enters this evening, as you said, atop the pile with 4 trips to victory lane. Matt Kingsbury sits second. He has 44 points back with 3 trips to victory lane. Third in the championship standing, 71 points back is Joe Hassert. 2 trips to victory lane. It proceeds down to P4 in the championship. We got Ray Kingsbury with 1 win on the season. So 4-3-2-1 starting from 1st to 4th in the championship as far as how many times they've won so far this season as the practice session comes to a close. We're just talking about that Trevor Malone entry. That 69 was 2nd in the practice session, Sean. He is the highest driver right now in the championship standings without a win, and he's only 5 points off of Kingsbury in the points as they run. There's a couple of other fast names up there inside the top 10 that don't have wins yet. Justin Laxton, Dan Guerin, Corey Connor, drivers that, you can talk about these races and they take a lot of strategy, but these are guys that we know and we've seen so far in this 2015 campaign. They've had strong runs. They've been up there. They've gotten some top 5s. They've gotten a lot of top 10s. There's about 4 or 5 drivers, I think, that still don't want to go off on this season without going to victory lane, and you might see them getting a little bit of an extra push going at it. But now that we get to these final few races, there's people going for a championship as well, but a lot of these guys still feel like they deserve to be in victory lane as qualifying now is underway. These guys hit the track for solo 2-lap runs.
I think you got to keep your eye on Dan Guerin tonight. Dan's been pretty hot in practice this week. Run one of the fastest qualifying runs out there. George Anzaldo was telling me that Dan ran a 24.545. It was one of the fastest qualifying runs all week. Dan's been fast in these practice races. I think he won 2 of them leading up to this. So Dan looking to get another spot there up in the points if he can this week. He's also looking for that finish with a checkered flag in his hand. And I think tonight could be the night for Dan Guerin tonight. I'm going to be looking at him all night. We've got a great race ahead here, and qualifying is underway. And this field is going to get set here pretty quick, and we're going to be off the green flag racing, Evan.
We do have some exciting news because the initial broadcast schedule that we came out with, and if you want information, because again, after this, we were scheduled to be off until we go under the lights in Fontana, California for the season championship. We'll go to LionHeartRacingSeries.com/schedule.html. You'll see that list. Exciting news for us is that, we're still going to be off for a little bit of time here in between these, but instead of being away for New Hampshire, Pocono, Gateway, and Kansas, we have added Kansas Motor Speedway to our broadcast schedule, so we will be on air for that event 100 laps later on for round 17, so we'll be able to have the cameras for the penultimate race as well as the championship. So as we look forward to this, we continue to talk about how this season is very quickly, it feels, Sean, gone from the beginning. We just started talking about how these guys are getting in a rhythm because we're in the middle of it, and next thing you know, it's starting to close out. A lot can change for when we go off air this evening in Atlanta and when we fire them back up at Kansas, and all that information going to be consistently available through LionHeartRacingSeries.com. Stay up to date with us at GSRC, but as well, we have a new partnership with Race Chaser Online to have everybody stay informed.
Yeah, what a great partnership. Race Chaser Online bringing you all your motorsports news, and now they're connected here, doing some great stories on the LionHeart series, and getting our plugs for Global Sim Racing Channel in there as well. And it's a great affiliation, a great website, lots of information, NASCAR, ARCA late models, racing in the Carolinas, open wheel racing, sports cars, you name it, they've got it there. And they also have an iRacing section, and they're following now the LionHeart IndyCar series. So we're happy to be on board with him, and we're going to put a good one on for him tonight.
And in that press release, I guess you'll call it, the preview of this evening's event at Atlanta, as we have just over a minute left to go in qualifying. These articles that went up pretty much every week on the LionHeart website, again, now being online at racechaseronline.com, where, again, you can get directly to that iRacing tab, which is also available through the homepage at racechaseronline.com/category/iRacing, is some of the names to look forward to into this. One of them you've already touched on, and that's Dan Guerin, somebody that we talked about yet with the trip to victory lane. 2 other names, Jason Robarch, Ian Adams, and the sleeper pick, Carl Burke. All of this, again, available every single week a lot of names, and you think about it, and it hasn't really been a season that's been dominated by one driver. You look at the statistics, they're kind of balanced when you look at the top of it, because we said how Jesse Vincent has the most trips to victory lane, Sean. He does not have the best stats overall, though, because Matt Kingsbury, 10 top 5s, 10 top 10s, as opposed to Jesse Vincent with 8 top 5s and 10 top 10s. So it's good to see variation. 44 points may sound like a lot, but there are so many races left to go, especially when you have to go to these ovals, and any single incident could really cost you. It's now down to the point where maybe there's not enough time to recover if you make a mistake this late in the season, as qualifying just now rounding to a finish.
Yeah, well, every track presents its own unique challenge, and not every driver is good at every track. So, yes, anything can and will happen over these next several races, and I don't think 44 points is a comfortable lead at all.
Well, the field is going to hit the grid, and we're going to give you the overdrive graphics starting grid from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, racking them up and getting set to get this evening's Bandit 125 underway, and it is going to be Matt Kingsbury with a 24.521 is going to put the number 21 car on pole position as he enters in pursuit Jesse Vincent in the championship. Alongside him in second position, going to be the number 8 of Dan Guerin. Trevor Malone will roll that number 69 off in P3. It'll be a 4th for Justin Laxton, and Tony Lurcock will round out our top 5.
And Big Joe Hassert out there on the outside there in the number 11 machine in 6th place. Jesse Vincent there on the inside of the next row behind him. The number 1, Jesse Vincent in 7th. Ray Kingsbury, 8th place tonight. Starting off that grid, Michael Gray in the 888, starting in 9th tonight. And rounding out the top 10, our league president, George Anzaldo, in the number 6, 10th place.
Ian Adams is going to roll in the number 3 machine inside on row 6 in the number 11 spot. 12th position to the 82 of John Downing. That's the Simposters entry. Krista Nelson in 13th position with a 24.608 alongside Pierre Deigel in 14th position. And rounding out the top 15, this next set of 5 cars, Jack Bogan in the 20 machine.
Robert Bluen in the Cobalt Tools machine, number 48 there, starting 16th. Alfred Shepard in the number 13, starting 17th. Carl Burke in the 027, starting 18th tonight. Joshua Borje Bonkowski, starting 19th in the number 193. And in 20th place, Vincent Bluthenthal, and he was the last car to take a time. And then behind him, we've got Marco Brazil, and Mark Norbert rounds out the field in 22nd.
And that 107 of Brazil is not currently on track. He did put a time in qualifying, was 21st fastest in the qualifying session out of 22 cars. He is not in the race, not in the sim right now. Mark Nobert is, so it looks like we'll stack him up with about 21 cars strong. As the field now rolls behind the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, we get set to do a battle in a race that is 84 laps at Hot Atlanta. These guys are going pretty fast, though, when you put them out there with the downforce that they have, with the banking that they have to work with. 84 laps. We talked about how it's over 125 miles. Sounds like a long race on paper, but really, if we get a long green flag stretch, this race will be over sooner than you would have expected, and that could be a big issue for people that did not be very well in qualifying, Sean. Those guys 10th on back. We know how spread out these things can get right off of these restarts. They really need to hope that they can get their way through traffic very easily tonight if they hope to get up there by the time the checkered flag rolls around.
Well, we just mentioned Mark Nobert there. He had some sort of trouble getting off the line there, and he is in the pit. So Mark Nobert going to start this race from the pit lane. Marco Brazil, no show right now. Vincent Bluthenthal is back here in 20th place. He's gonna have to try to avoid the carnage here.
Well, we get set to go. Green Flag Racing from Atlanta. We're glad to have you with us on the Global Sim Racing channel. The Bandit 125 is set to get underway. The pace car down and out of the way. Matt Kingsbury going to lead us across the start-finish line. Green flag as he sails off this field. Now already 180 miles an hour strong to quarter one. Side by side for second on back in the inside. Trevor Malone with the upper hand on Dan Guerin. He'll get up the P2, and now it's Justin Laxton on the inside. Side by side fight for P3 down at a corner 3.
As the back of the field heads into 3, everybody in good shape right now. Got a couple cars that have lost the pace, but nice battle back here right now. Field really starting to spread out pretty quick here, Evan.
The top 5 within 0.4 of a second of each other. We continue to follow them through, and you see Malone looking to the outside, doesn't do it, jumps back in line, gets a little bit of that draft, and jumps right back up to the high side. Behind them now as they go side by side, Dan Guerin in that number 8 machine determining who he wants to go with. He'll follow Kingsbury on the inside. No room anymore. Malone tried to sneak back down to that single file dominant line on the bottom. Not going to work, and something that you might see in a stock car at a plate track, he is left on the high side and going the wrong direction. However, going to get that run off the bank it in 2. That is going to be his saving grace. He'll duck into P3, and Guerin going to try to do what Malone was not able to. Thinks about the outside. He'll make it side by side at a corner 4.
Nice little 3-car battle back here for 15th place right now. Vincent Blumenthal trying to hold off Michael Gray right now. Jack Bogan had that spot, lost it to Vincent, and now, as I said, Michael Gray is right there battling Vincent for that spot. Nice, again, nice little battle going on here now. 4 cars, almost, well, 5 cars now into that mix. Watch this battle. It's gonna heat up here pretty quick.
Top 2 rows are double file for the top 4 within 0.1 of a second of each other. They were just side by side for 5th behind them. Tony Lurcock, who started there, was fighting with Joe Hassert. Both of those guys started where they sit right now. Behind them, Ray Kingsbury and Jesse Vincent as well. No major changes inside of the top 10, except the battle continues to rage on. A racetrack that allows a lot of aero advantage to these guys. But so far, Matt Kingsbury, by just protecting that inside line through the corner, has been able to be dominant. We've seen a couple of people try the high side. You see, this is a huge pack of cars up in this lead group. You can really say it's 14 cars strong within 1.5 seconds of each other. If one person slips up, it is going to be a very bad deal, but the top 4 still all over each other, and Malone can't catch a break because he's continued to be forced to the high side trying to make something work.
And, you know, I'm still watching these 5 cars back here right now. They're not letting that pack in front of him get too far away from him yet. They are having a pretty nice little battle themselves right now. We've seen position back here swap from basically lap to lap. Again, they're not letting that front pack of 14 strong get too far away. If anything happens up there, as it looks like that front pack is about ready to catch a car that's off pace right now, Evan. Talk to us about what's going on there in front. Looks like that car is only just a few seconds ahead.
And these guys very quickly approaching. We do have one driver that is down a lap, and that's the man we're talking about, the 83 of Mark Nobert. The Castrol Edge machine is already 1 lap in a negative after he had a slow start to this race after electing to take the pit lane. Did not make the grid, whether it was by choice or just an accidental issue there, but that cost him to lose his lap early. We're 3 wide almost for the top spot, and you see somehow this lead pack is not diminishing at all. Still 14 cars strong. This is typically the point where we'll talk about, Sean, the top 3 are in a group. You got another group of 4, a group of 5, and some stragglers. There are 2 groups on the racetrack right now. One that has 14 cars within 2 seconds of each other, and that secondary group that you're keeping tabs on, 15th through 19th on a racetrack. 2 big packs, but this lead pack is outrageous. So many battles through, and they continue to go at it. We saw contact just a little bit ago. Trevor Malone on the outside of the car on the inside slide up, get into him, has not deterred him. Sometimes you'll get rattled a little bit by that. He is staying right in the mix and continuing to try to make that high line work, using that run off the corner to his advantage as he does off a 2 here on Dan Guerin.
Now, Evan, these guys got quite a run going. Oh, got a car down on the apron, yeah.
Yeah, he tried that on Laxton. I don't know if it was the smartest move for lap 11. They keep it pointed the right direction. There was a puff of smoke, and thankfully for Laxton, I don't think they made too bad of contact. But again, in a group like that, very, very small incident like that could have been huge. Everybody, though, keeps it going.
Yeah, they managed to keep it going, and then, man, what a save right there. You know those guys behind him there had to just have a little moment there where they felt a little unsure about how that was going to turn out. Going back here to the Magic 5 right now that are battling it out for 15th place and back. This is still quite a race, and again, they've not let that front pack get too far in front of them. Oh, they're spinning now. They're spinning in turn 2. Krista Nelson gets a piece of the wall. The yellow flag is out.
And caution flag will fly from Atlanta as trouble for that incident down there in corner number 2. We saw a car turned around and was facing evidently the wrong direction on the apron. It was Pierre Deigel with the brunt of the bad end of those things there. It started in front of him, and Deigel just ended up getting collected. The car that got turned around, how about this? Did we not just talk about how it's too late in the season to have an issue? Jesse Vincent, right there, down into corner number 1. Somebody got in the back of him the slightest bit. That's Ian Adams. Got him sideways. Thought he had maybe saved it, and then Vincent actually was able to, but then we mentioned Pierre Deigel. Deigel just trying to get out of the way. He ends up sliding in up the racetrack and into the Michael Gray Race Center entry, and those are the 2 cars that actually got turned around. They both, it looks like Michael Gray with a huge job of keeping it off of the inside wall. Not quite the same luck for the 14, but Jesse Vincent, although he was in that, dodging a huge bullet, as that could have been a lot worse. The leaders, though, come down the pit lane under our first caution for the first time tonight. They're led by Matt Kingsbury.
That was quite a run there. I mean, we got 13 laps in there before we saw an incident, and man, it was just, as you said there on the replay, it was ever so slight, just a little bit of contact. But, like you talked about, this track is slick. It's a little warm out there right now. The temperature's building up, and these cars still haven't really settled in. So, that's probably going to happen when you get that close. So far, it looks everybody else is pretty clean getting on and off pit road as they start to come back out here and pace back around the track. Right now, it looks like Jesse Vincent's still up on the jack right now. He's looks like he's going to get that repair and maybe not opt for the quick. I'm sorry, there is no reset. So Jesse is having to take repair. Sorry there, Evan. Stop me before I kill myself.
We were talking about that exact reason, how, Jesse got in that incident, but he lucked out because typically when a car gets sideways at 220 miles an hour, Sean, you don't just save it. And he got very, very lucky because we talked about, again, right at the top of the broadcast, that gap that he has over the man that sits at the top of the field right now, Matt Kingsbury, is not all that comfortable. And we're starting to get down to the point where you can't really afford many mistakes. That is although again, he was still in the incident, we recognize that. He's trying to get repairs done. It could have been much, much worse. Matt Kingsbury led us down to pit lane. He leads us off of the pit lane. The lights remain on top of the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car. It is Kingsbury, Laxton, Malone, Guerin, and how about Joe Hassert now up into the top 5 in that number 11 machine. He talked about how he was running very good at the start of the week in the practice, where he feels like everybody else has started to catch up to him as we've gotten closer and closer to race day. We'll have to see what his LionHeart Racing Series Dallara can do, but this field still sits 19 cars strong. The only people off of the lead lap, again, Pierre Deigel for his involvement in that incident, and then Mark Nobert, who it's very difficult to get back from a lap down in this series because there's no lucky dog like you'd see in a NASCAR series. The only way he can get his lap back is if every single person on the lead lap pits and he stays out, which is a possibility. So far, not looking all that good for Nobert as he continues to sit 1 lap in the negative.
Well, I'm watching Jesse Vincent. He did come out of the pit, went around for a lap, and now he's back in trying to get some repair on that car. It is heavily damaged. Right rear is pretty torn up. It's got wing damage up front. Looks like the right front's towed out just a little bit. He's going to really have trouble being fast with that machine. I sure hope Jesse can get a finish tonight because this would be a big hit in the points for him if he can't finish this thing tonight.
And it's going to be a situation where he's never going to get that car back to 100%. But what you have to do is, and it's a very agonizing part of points racing, is that you go out there, Sean, you got damage. Sometimes we'll see it with drivers. They sit 2 laps down, 3 laps down, even more. You're not doing anything but logging laps, and all you really can do is just consistently look behind you and stay out of the way for the leaders. And it's excruciating to do. It's very difficult as a race car driver to go out there and log laps when you're not competitive, but it is so important that he stays out there, depending on whatever damage he gets, because if other people have trouble, they fall out of the race. That's points. Every single position, it's going to pay you more and more points. That could be huge. You never want to. We don't want to arrive in Fontana, California, get down to the end of the season, you lose a championship by 3 points or so, and you know that if you stayed out and just ran out one more race, you may have had those. So that's exactly what he's got to do, and he'll do it. He'll continue to try to get that thing fixed as the night progresses. It won't get all the way back to 100%, but they'll try their best.
Yeah, he will. we get ready to go back to green here. But Jesse will stay in this thing. Remember, single file restarts here in the LionHeart series.
And they are single filed up, getting set to go back at it. A car peaks to the high side. Justin Laxton, everybody up to the high side, but Matt Kingsbury. They want a little bit of assistance from the banking. The pace car, sharp left-hand turn out of the way. No issues for Kingsbury getting us back going. I feel this single file restart is going to lead to, I guess, much more calm racing than what we saw, because the top 14 last time were within 2 seconds of each other. Now they're separated by 4. Single file inside of the top 5 down the back straightaway. Everybody trying to build momentum before they try to make a move.
Yeah, and this field is 19 strong right now on the lead lap. Jesse Vincent hanging in there at the back, but he does have guys there working in front of him. Right now, again, the back of the field is off to a good start, and you know what we're seeing is that single file restart has really spread this field out, Evan. I mean, we've got a whole straightaway of distance between the front to the back.
Everybody very spread out here, and the top 3 were trying to get away. That's not really going to happen. It's going to be a top 7 breakaway. The top 7 are good by about a second and some change to everybody from there on back, but within that top group of 7 that are squeezed within 0.6 of a second of each other, there is a lot going on. 2 rows of side-by-side, one of them fighting for second, the other fighting for fourth. Trevor Malone continues to try to make the outside lane work in a number 69 car, much as he did on that first stint. To no success yet, but he's fighting with Justin Laxton. Matt Kingsbury still sits in front of Laxton on the inside. You see getting it so down low that 21's actually putting those left side tires below the white line down in 1 and 2.
Well, Robert Bluen leading this small pack back here right now in 16th place. They're starting to lose those cars in front of them right now. We've got Joshua Jorge Bonkowski there. We got a car on the wall, looks like just behind that. I'm trying to catch it.
Michael Gray, the Race Center 888 car, is into the outside wall, and he caught it good after going side by side. Contact was made with Mark Nobert as the Castrol Edge machine slid up the hill a little bit, and Gray has those right side tires almost embedded into the outside wall. He'll now drop down to the apron. Heavy damage. That car is stationary. Lucky a caution has not yet been thrown for him because he's sitting on the apron, not moving right now. We'll have to see what he does. I would anticipate a tow, but so far he's still out there, and he's sitting stationary on the apron down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and he just towed it. Car's in the pits with heavy damage to the wing and the whole right side of that thing. He smacked it hard. Just a little bit of contact there. That's all it took, and looks like that's going to be it for Michael Gray tonight. That was a hard hit.
He will fall out, and to our point, that's a position that Jesse Vincent gains, although he's 10 seconds off pace, up to 18th position now out of 18 cars on the lead lap. This top group continues to fight, and again, Trevor Malone, he's being aggressive, but he has not had any luck. He's only gone backwards if you exclude the first lap where he was able to make a move to the inside of Dan Guerin. He was on the outside, just talked about how he was fighting with Justin Laxton. Well, Laxton won that battle. Dan Guerin won that battle. Joe Hassert won another battle. He now finds himself in P5. But Kingsbury has had absolute control of this event because when somebody's gone up to him and tried to make a move, it's only been one car so far. You get a huge draft. As soon as you step out of line in these cars, you're going to hit a wall of air, and that's exactly what we've seen. They're able to get nose-to-nose with him, but nothing more. And so far, the 21 in control of this race.
Ian Adams in the wall. Contact with Vincent Blumenthal. Ian Adams is in the wall. The yellow flag is not out yet. Ian hit it hard.
Yeah, that was exactly what happened to Michael Gray at a corner 4. This time it strikes Ian Adam. Contact with that car on his inside. You'll see the replay right now on the inside. That car pushes up right there the slightest bit, and he gets those right side tires embedded almost into that outside wall. He is able to make it to the pit lane because of where his incident happened, but that car does not look like the toe or the suspension is in any sort of racing condition. He pulls it into the pit lane, but that team nailed that entry. Looks pretty torn up.
Yeah, and that was him and Blumenthal getting together right there. And, man, he came out on the short end. That was some this pack right here battling for 8th and 9th spot. Oh, just in front of him.
Oh, and we're spinning down the back straightaway. Carl Burke dives low. Oh, big trouble now. Caution flag is out. Trevor Malone is in this incident. Upside down goes Jack Bogan. Caution will fly after a string of incidents almost back-to-back, and then contact down the back straightaway, up about halfway in front of these guys. Trevor Malone going to be the first car that finds trouble. Just got tight, caught the wall, came down. If he hit the inside fence, and it's a situation where you can say he shouldn't have overcorrected it, but he would have just bounced off the inside wall anyways, I would feel, Sean. He goes up the racetrack. Meanwhile, as he's spinning, we have more contact with Ray Kingsbury, who gets turned from the car behind him, trying to get out of the way. Tony Lurcock could not anticipate the checkup. Kingsbury gets turned around, so he's in the fence, and then you see, obviously, Malone come up the racetrack, and that's where that big impact is, coming through at top speed and nowhere for Jack Bogan to go. That car gets up into the air. Caution flag is out after a vicious incident in corner 3.
A lot of cars torn up right there. Krista Nelson caught the spinning Trevor Malone there. I think we're going to have several cars here that are not going to make it back out on the track as a result of that incident. That was a nasty one. Jack Bogan, I guess, really nowhere to go. Maybe he didn't see that happening quick enough to make an evasive move, but man, he went straight into the side pod, the Trevor Malone there in the middle of the track, and that was just vicious. Vicious hit.
Nobody's been able to pass Matt Kingsbury on the racetrack, and they may not be able to do so because the lead car is so dominant, but it was a drag race off of the pit lane. Justin Laxton gave him a hell of a run for it, but in the end, it is the 21 car who will once again lead us off of the pit lane. Talked about that Castrol Edge machine Mark Nobert needed to stay out to get away by. That is exactly what he's doing, so he'll be able to get that 83 car back on the lead lap and back in contention in this one. But Kingsbury leads them off. Laxton, Joe Hassert, Dan Guerin, Vincent Blumenthal. So far, some of the biggest movers in this. Carl Burke mentioned him very briefly at the top of this race as the sleeper pick via the article on the LionHeart IndyCar Series, their webpage as well on Race Chaser Online. Started in 18th. He's passed 10 cars. He's up 11 spots. He's 7th right now on track.
Yeah, and don't look now, but Jesse Vincent is in 11th. So Jesse could still salvage a top 10 finish here tonight. As bad as things might have looked for him there a moment ago, things are improving. Now, it looks like he did take a pit because he shuffled back to 12th, but still, Jesse on the lead lap and overcoming that first caution flag like a real champ right now. Really wants to hold on to that points lead and keep as much cushion as he can.
So now we reset 14 on the lead lap. Ray Kingsbury is currently scored on the lead lap. However, that machine is currently on the pit lane, and there's no driver behind the wheel of it. The crew's taking a look, but it does not look promising. That could be a very tough hit to take if you are Ray Kingsbury entering this championship. 158 points off, Sean. We've talked about, again, we're so late in the season that you can't afford any more major hits. 158 points is a very big uphill battle by itself when you talk about chasing down a guy like Jesse Vincent. But with that damage, a couple more guys behind him that may get around him and just limp around with some damage, this could be maybe the final nail in the coffin for the championship hopes of Ray Kingsbury. Still quite a few races to go, but you're getting further and further away with less and less time. Not a good situation.
Yeah, a good run for Ray was important tonight, and especially with Jesse being involved in that first incident, obviously the pressure was on to really capitalize on that, and doesn't look like Ray's going to get that chance tonight. Tough break for him, but there are still several races to go, and anything can happen here in the LionHeart Racing Series. But right now, this race is shaping up pretty well. I mean, we've got 32 laps in the books. So we're getting close to the halfway point. We've got cars that are full of fuel, and we know they can get about 30 laps. So right now, all you really need is one more pit stop to finish this thing at the checkered flag. So really, if they get a nice green flag run going here, we could see some interesting strategy play out, Evan.
Lights go back on for the pace car. We now sit with 13 drivers on the lead lap. Mark Nobert in that Castrol Edge machine was waved around, so he'll join everybody up once again. It is going to be, though, Kingsbury followed by Laxton, and we continue to say that nobody has been able to really get a nose on Kingsbury all race long because the inside and the lead with the aerodynamics on these cars has such an advantage. Look at this. Everybody else scales the wall in 3 and 4. He'll ride the bottom. Kingsbury going to be in control for this restart. He's on the accelerator. Green flag flies back racing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. What is going to be the lead group this time? How about a side-by-side battle right off the bat? They fight for second, and it's Joe Hassert, the challenger, up high. Not going to work in 1 and 2, but a brilliant restart.
John Downing trying to hold off Robert Bluen. He does it now, but now he's trying to get to the back of Bonkowski. John Downing right there sitting in 10th place, trying to get his way up into a top 5 finish tonight. He's got to get around Bonkowski to do it, but don't give up on Robert Bluen. He is hanging with those guys. He's starting to catch him now, get a little bit of that draft. And remember, the push is real, but with these green tires, I expect these cars to have a little bit more grip right now, so we're going to see some daring moves unfold here in just a second as these guys fight for the top 10.
How about right in front of them, 3 cars going at it, the battles for P5. They're starting, though, as they continue to fight further and further away from the battle for the lead, but it is P5 Tony Lurcock in that number 42 car. A good fight going on behind him. George Anzaldo in the number 6, and Vincent Blumenthal going at it. These guys have been duking it out since the drop of the green flag. You see the gap to those top 4 in front of them on the racetrack. Slowly close it in, maybe. If they can ride single file, they'll catch them, because they've been riding double file up for P3 in that lead group for a couple of laps now. If these guys can get together, ride single file, or get something going, only 0.8 of a second off, I feel like they'll be able to close into the leaders, but they can't really start duking it out if they want to be able to hang with Kingsbury, Laxton, Hassard, and Guerin. It looks like they're doing a good job, though, of starting to catch back up to our leaders, hoping to make it a lead pack that would be 7 strong.
Yeah, well, Bonkowski's really keeping it down on that low line right now, and really the guys behind him are really running a little bit higher line, so they have not really been able to go single file. Now they're battling up there, Bonkowski and John Downing. I'm sorry, check that. Bonkowski and Carl Burke up there battling right now. Sorry about that. And Robert Bluen now getting to the inside of Carl Burke as he gets that spot away from Carl Burke, following Bonkowski. So they are drafting, but they're not drafting enough to catch that pack as quick as they'd like. As we see now, Bluen zigzagging all over the track, almost got into the fence right there, and he lets Carl Burke go below.
And that fight going 2 seconds behind the race lead for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th in that 4-car pack. 2 guys that have fallen off of the pace. They're together, but they are some guys that have been working with some damage. Jesse Vincent sits 12th right now, 6 seconds off of the top spot. And Alfred E. Shepard in the number 13 sits in 13th. You see them go side by side in the corner, and it's that 13 trying to put a move on the 1 machine. Maybe a little bit less damage on that Shepard entry, but these guys are significantly off of the pace, trying to limp home and salvage what they can from this evening's event. That lead group has become a battle from 4 to 7 cars as Blumenthal, Lurcock, and everybody else going to join the party in this one. Leader, again, still one of the only spots that is single file. You see they roar off of corner number 2. They're side by side for second. They're side by side a little bit further back for what appears to be 5th position as well, but it is still a race despite the fact that there is 6 guys breathing down his neck. Matt Kingsbury remains in total control.
I was talking to George in the pits here before the race, and this is exactly where he wanted to be. He is really gunning for a podium finish tonight, and he is so far having a really, really solid run all the way back from 10th. He's got that car up in 5th place right now, and really just in the thick of it here in this Hornet's Nest in that LionHeart machine. He is really having a great run tonight, and again, like I said, this is exactly where he told me he wanted to be at this point in the race. So far, everything going according to plan for George Anzaldo.
Continuing to fight inside of the top 7, 13 still on the lead lap. You talk about the progress that George Anzaldo has made, up 5 spots. The car that sits 7th right now, up 13. That's Vincent Blumenthal. He has made great strides so far in this event. They continue to stagger and shuffle every time they cycle by the start-finish line, but as we cross over, lap 42 in the books out of 84, we're halfway home at Atlanta. Let's give it the Sim Posters mid-race leaderboard. Matt Kingsbury leads. Justin Laxton right now scored in 2nd. Joe Hassard is 3rd. Dan Guerin is 4th. The 5th position for George Anzaldo. 6th is Tony Lurcock. Vincent Blumenthal is 7th. 8th, the Joshua Borje Bonkowski. Carl Burke is 9th position. They'll swap 8 and 9. And then rounding out your top 10 is Robert Bluen, Sean.
Yeah, and they're in 11th. John Downing in 12th right now. Alfred Shepard, Jesse Vincent hanging on there in 13th, still on the lead lap, and Mark Nobert still in this race, a lap down, 14th place. Everybody else right now, I believe, is off the track.
We saw a little bit of contact around P10. It was Joshua Borje Bonkowski in the number 193. Carl Burke pushed up the hill a little bit, got into him. Thankfully, though, for Bonkowski, unlike the last two times we've seen that, it did not result in a big incident. He hangs on to it, but he does lose touch with that secondary group on a racetrack, so now he finds himself fighting with John Downing for P10, 3.6 seconds off of the top spot. They go side pod to side pod down through 1 and 2, continuing to fight. You can tell that it's getting a little bit more anxious up inside the top 3. We talked about how as long as Matt Kingsbury holds the bottom, that is exactly where he needs to be, and it appears that if he's able to remain doing that, he'll be in absolute control of this race. Start to see guys like Joe Hassard, who's going to make a move to second place on the outside of Justin Laxton, as well as that 53, start to try to peek to the inside on Kingsbury through the quad oval, down the back straightaway. Have a feeling this is going to get real fun real soon if they keep digging like they're doing right now.
Man, and digging they are. Vincent Blumenthal there was having a pretty close battle there with Tony Lurcock, and they almost made contact. But Dan Guerin right now in the thick of that chase right there in 4th place. He was back there almost locked up with Vincent Blumenthal. Now we've got Dan Guerin trying to make a run to the front here as he battles with Laxton and has Big Joe in his sights right now. But Matt Kingsbury still holding on to the lead of this race right now, Evan, as they head back across the start-finish line for lap 49.
And you see Hassert to the outside. He was able to make that move work on Laxton. I just don't see the outside working on Matt Kingsbury. He gets the run off the corner, and maybe Hassert's figured something out that nobody else has because he's been able to make more progress on the outside than everybody else. But you see, as soon as he got up to Kingsbury, stalled out. You ride on board with him as we sail off to quarter number 1. A little bit of lap traffic maybe on the horizon that these guys are going to have to navigate, but so far, good clean track in front of them, almost the whole straightaway till we get to that point. The top 4, a group of their own after what was a top 7 breakaway. Straggling now is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Lurcock, Blumenthal, and Anzaldo sliding off the top a little bit because the top 4 have really visibly cranked it up a notch in these last 5 or 10 laps. You can see it's getting a lot more exciting. They're starting to make a little bit more aggressive and quick moves that they're trying to get something to work. Close it in now with inside of 34 laps to go.
Well, I think that little bit of contact that Blumenthal and Tony Lurcock had really made is why that field split up there, and George Anzala was back there, and he had to check up a little bit as well, and that's got him now trying to catch up to Blumenthal and Lurcock, and he's losing pace. He's in 7th place now, and almost a second and a half to the leader. So right now, George has got to hope to just suck back up to that draft and try and get a run back up on Blumenthal. It's going to be tough, but I think he can do it if he runs that good, clean line around here.
Jesse Vincent, we talked about how if he stays out, he can gain valuable points. He's gained 5 spots since he stayed out after his incident. You watch him now in corner 4. However, with that damage, without the draft, sliding backwards more and more every lap. This time by, as the leaders cycle out of the corner, they sit just about 6 or 7 seconds off of Jesse Vincent. Now, although it does appear to be a lot because Vincent cycled out of 2, they're going into corner 1. If they continue at this rate of speed, not going to be all that long. And into the fence out of quarter number 2, Dan Guerin. That car got tight very quickly. Something we saw happen just a moment ago on that last green flag stint. Same place in corner 2. Not sure how hard he hit it, but he did make significant contact. He will slide at least back behind Joe Hassert, who'll be scored at the start-finish line in 4th. How does it affect the speed, though, long-term? Tony Lurcock trying to pass him.
Well, he did hit it pretty good. As they say here in the LionHeart series, the push is real, and it did get the best of Dan right there. But it doesn't look like Dan's too bad off right now. He is keeping pace, but that gives Big Joe an advantage there. And right now, Lurcock is really trying to put a move on him here as they head into the turn. And Lurcock all over the deck here of Dan Guerin. But Dan's starting to get a little bit of ground on Big Joe, so now Big Joe's looking over his shoulder. really trying to make that car maybe just a little bit wider right now as we do get here into, oh no, Joe is off pace, heading into the pit. Joe is heading in for his green flag pit stop right now.
A very difficult way to enter pit road when you are in the middle of a fight like that, and the fact that there are cars on your outside. He went for it though, trying to catch him off guard a little bit, not giving away the strategy. Maybe a little bit of a short pit. We'll have to see, dependent on how far these tires fall off and how quickly. Now Kingsbury into the pit lane. He'll drive it a lot harder into the pit lane. A beautifully executed pit road entry. Matt Kingsbury getting every single hundredth out of that car, nailing it right down to 50 at the last second at that pit road commitment cone. A beautiful entry for the 21. I was going to say that it was a pretty solid entry for Joe Hassard. He took it a little bit easy, though. That is literally pushing it as far as you can. Matt Kingsbury slides it into the pit lane, doesn't have to back it up. Now Justin Laxton comes to the pit lane. Lurcock will go to the top spot.
And Lurcock stays out, but yeah, we saw, you know, it was really funny when Kingsbury came down there. I saw that rear end wiggle, and I thought that car was going around, but boy, what a masterful job of getting there on a pit lane. But yeah, we're seeing that cycle of pit stops hit right now, Evan. Doesn't come a moment too soon. Now these guys know what they have to do. George Anzaldo stays out and will take over the lead of this race. He's going to pick up that bonus point, but I imagine he's probably going to bring that thing in right now.
Told you that I was going to call the pit stop by Joe Hassard a beautiful one. He may have thought the same thing, but he has lost time on Matt Kingsbury. They are now both up on track, and you'll see them down the back straightaway. That gap right there that has grown significantly, Hassard now really has to be chasing him down, assuming that, again, we stay green and everything continues to cycle through. George Anzaldo went to the top spot. He's now down to the pit lane. John Downing will remain out on track. He'll be second right now, and it is going to be the current race leader in that Lowe's entry, Robert Bluen right there. He will now go to the top spot in that number 48 machine. When does he elect to come down pit road? And again, these will be the final stops on the race within 25 laps to go in this event. How long does Bluen stay out? May he try to run that fuel tank to the end, hoping that maybe he can get a caution, which would allow him and the four other cars on the lead lap right now to pit. Downing, Anzaldo, Burke, and Vincent. Everybody else a lap down. The caution flag flies. That is terrible news for everybody that's already pitted. Would be great news for that 48 team.
Yeah, and you got to imagine Jesse Vincent's getting better gas mileage because the car is not, well, it's just not fast. And so right now, Jesse can probably stay out a lap or two, and what he can hope for is maybe someone gets spun around getting back up onto this track. He stays out, and right now it looks like Downing and Bluen is out, and Jesse Vincent is now making his way to the pit. So I guess he had maybe just a lap or two more than everybody, but Jesse is in now.
So the 48 car down the pit lane. We talked about Jesse Vincent down the pit lane. Only one guy remains now out on track, and it's the Sim Posters 82 of John Downing. Started this race in 12th. We have not seen a pass for the lead under green flag conditions, excluding this cycle of pit stops, and now he comes down. It is so crucial for whoever is leading this. We talked about Kingsbury, how he beat Joe Hassard on the cycle of pit stops. What can Bluen do? He's into the pit lane. You see our leaders already, or who you would assume to become the leaders as John Downing hits the pit lane. Kingsbury and Hassard will assume those positions. They're already coming at it too, as those guys are still in for service, and that 21 car will return to the point in this event. Now closing in 20 markers to go this time at the start-finish line.
Yeah, and Kingsbury really put a lot of space between himself and Big Joe Hassard, just under 2 seconds there, and that's going to be tough ground for Big Joe to make up, as Kingsbury really has done a good job of showing the way around this track tonight. Big Joe's got a lot of work to do. He can get to him. If anybody can do it, it's Big Joe. So we'll see how this develops here over the next just under 20 laps to go here. But this field is really spread out, as it looks like everybody had just a little bit different strategy as they all took their pit stops. It seemed like one lap right after the other. So everybody is now spread out. And, well, if we get a yellow flag, there might be a couple of guys that'll be in trouble here.
We've gone from 13 to 11 cars that sit on the lead lap right now. Bad news, Jesse Vincent is no longer one of them. Him and Joshua Borje Bonkowski, the 1 and 193 cars, both of them have lost their lead lap status. They fall to 12th and 13th, and again leave us with just 11 on the lead lap as they go right now. It is Kingsbury, but again, a significant improvement after he got, and a lot of the time you'll see the leaders almost take it a little bit too easy when they come to the pit lane because they know, Sean, they're in control of the event. Matt Kingsbury did not absolutely take it easy at all. I thought, again, that Joe Hassard had a pretty good entry with a little bit of conservativeness there, being safe, got it slowed down, and maybe had to go 50 feet, go already at pit lane speed to the cones. Kingsbury got it down to 51, I think, and the speed limit was 50. He was right there on the money. I thought he was going to be speeding into it, which is why I was talking about it, because he was flying in there, and it's paying off to the point where now he doesn't even have to worry about the 11 breathing down his neck, because unless Joe Hassard gets some drafting help, which right now nothing's around him, he's not going to make up 1.6 seconds on his own.
Man, I'm watching this little battle here going on between Dan Guerin and Bonkowski, and I'm not really sure why that's a battle. Guerin's trying to get to the rear end of George Ansaldo, and Bonkowski right now in the middle of that sandwich. And I don't understand exactly why. Maybe he's racing him so hard right there, but Dan's going to try and make a move below him here going into turn 3. Can't seem to get that car in front of him just yet. They're side by side heading through 4, and right now doesn't look like he's going to get past him yet, but maybe he can do it here in the next turn, and he does. In turn 1, he has passed and now got his sights set on George Ansaldo, who is now 4th, and Dan Guerin rounding out the top 5.
Dan is right there on George Ansaldo. Not all that far away is that number 6. One of the biggest movers this evening is that number 6. He's up 6 positions. Continue to talk about Carl Burke. If he was starting where he is right now in the start of the race, he would have been able to hang on to that lead lap. He goes side by side. John Downing trying to pass him. But, he did a great job. He got those 12 spots very, very quickly. Unfortunately for him, his Achilles heel as a crossover to the bottom goes John Downey. That may be what somebody's going to do on Matt Kingsbury, because the inside, the only place to do it for the top spot. Carl Burke, the single file restarts maybe his Achilles heel, because everybody got so strung out that the top 60, although you were right in the middle of that pack early, started to string off at the end, and the cycle of green flag pit stops didn't help him because it is so dependent on who is around you. So we've talked about what somebody needs to do to get around Matt Kingsbury, what we think they need to do. The question is, can anybody even get to him now? That time by the start-finish line, 11 laps to go. He's only pulling further and further away.
Yeah, no, I just, unless we get a caution that bunches this field up, I just don't see how it's possible. Matt's just too far ahead, and whereas Big Joe's making little gains, they're just little gains, and he doesn't have any help behind, doesn't have anybody to draft with right there. So that's going to be a real problem. I'm wondering if maybe George can get to 3rd place and get on the podium here. He's got a little bit of drafting help behind him. They are faster, but I just don't know if he's got enough time to get to Tony Lurcock. It's still about 2 seconds separating him.
We'll have to see. Again, Lurcock is well up there, and Ansaldo would need a little bit of help, but I don't think Dan Garrett really wants to ride in line and help him get up there. I'm sure that 8 on his agenda as he gets to the back of the 6 is more of making a move on him as opposed to assisting that team in any sort of manner. Again, 11 of them on the lead lap. The majority of these guys are all spread out, are fairly close for second, with Lurcock again trying to get up to Joe Hassard, Ansaldo and Guerin, and then John Downing and Carl Burke. So a battle for 4th and 5th and then 6th and 7th respectively. Those are really the only people that are near each other fighting on the racetrack in a significant battle for position at the moment. Again, the green flag pit stop, something that was questionable if we were going to see them tonight. We did. We got very spread out, and just like that, this race coming down to the end of it, and Kingsbury dominating this one, still 1.6 safety as he goes down well within inside of 10 laps to go. The only thing that can derail him besides a self-inflicted error would be a caution. Not impossible, but the 21 machine definitely does not want to see that.
Yeah, tough break for Justin Laxton tonight, who was up there battling for the lead earlier in one of the fast qualifiers. Started off 4th, now back there in 9th place was involved in that last caution flag, took a lot of damage there. He's sporting a new paint job. He's got Wieners on board tonight as a new sponsor, and really another hot paint job there from Overdrive Graphics. And again, just a tough break for Justin last night. There was a lot to gain for him, and sliding back to ninth here and possibly getting a ninth place finish is not going to be where he wanted to end up. Tough night again for Justin Laxton.
Closing further and further in now with inside of 5 laps to go. Even if we were to get a caution almost from this point on, when you get 4 and under, a caution flag will not leave you with enough time. There's no overtime at iRacing, but irrelevant if there was, because there is no overtime in IndyCar Series racing. You're going the set distance, no more, no less. Kingsbury across the start-finish line, officially going to be getting this one within what he needs to get the job done for. All the way through Alfred Shepard, who is now the final car on the lead lap, scored in P10. Kingsbury takes lap number 81 of a scheduled 84 on the board right now. And again, still nothing happening. Joe Hassard has nobody around him. Tony Lurcock does not appear that he's going to be caught by George Anzaldo. Everybody inside the top 5, no fights for position.
Yeah, George had a good fight going there, but Vincent Blumenthal right now is fighting. Right now, he's fighting hard there with Justin Laxton, who we were talking about a moment ago. It is a battle for that 8th spot right now, and right now Laxton is holding on to it. He's got himself in front of Blumenthal, and it's a good little battle going on right there, and those spots are important. Again, Laxton looking for a good finish tonight. A finish in the top 10 is not a bad finish. It won't help him in the points battle. It may not hurt him that bad. But, again, nice little battle going on there between Laxton and Blumenthal. And looks like Laxton had a little bit of lawn care to do right there.
John Downing going to gain a spot on Dan Gear, and he will slot into P5, but the white flag lap is out for Matt Kingsbury. If it wasn't for the cycle of green flag pit stops, he would have led every single one of them, only lost them when he hit the pit lane. A beautifully executed one to get the insurance, and he'll lock it up. He entered tonight knowing that he needs to make up ground in the championship. He'll do just that, tying a season high, the 4th checkered flag. Your winner, Matt Kingsbury, now finally letting off the throttle for the first time in the last hour, will win this evening's Bandit 125 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. His counterpart in that championship is able to recover for a P12, but a huge night in that 21, closing in that gap between first and second in the points. A huge evening going into these final few races.
Yes, it was. And, those darn Kingsburys, they do it again. If it's not one of them, it's the other. And Matt showing the way tonight. He had a great run there and enjoyed that clean air at the front of the field all night. Big Joe did all he could right there to make up ground and was closing, but it just didn't have enough laps to make it work. And great run for Tony Lurcock tonight, getting a little bit of success there and really just having a nice podium finish. It's certainly what he needed. And again, hats off to George Anzaldo. Great run for him tonight. I think he finished that race right about where he maybe wanted to or expected to. So good on him, and great run for John Downing to finish 5th and get a top 5 finish tonight. So good job all around. We saw a great one here tonight. The cautions really weren't a problem. In fact, they played right into that strategy there at the end, and we saw a great one here tonight.
And just over 50% of the field will complete this one on track. 10 of them going to finish on the lead lap, and really, again, the only major issue for a lot of these guys was that big incident down the back straightaway into corner 3 earlier on. Kingsbury wins it over Joe Hassard and Tony Lurcock. We'll try to talk to our top 3 and reset you as we go into a couple of weeks with the LionHeart IndyCar Series. We got a lot coming up. New Hampshire, Pocono Gateway. We're back at Kansas, but the post-race show from Hotlanta on the other side. Back live at Henrico County, Georgia, at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where this evening's LionHeart IndyCar Series race, round 13 of 18 in the Season 2 Championship, the Bandit 125, has come to a close, and we'll start things off here with the GSRC post-race show with a full field rundown presented by our partners Overdrive Graphics and SimPoster. It is Matt Kingsbury who walks away with a win tonight after a late race push and really blowout at the end. He'll take it over Joe Hassert, Tony Lurcock in third, Georgia Anzaldo would round out the top four. A P5 for John Downey, Robert Bluen in P6, 7th position to Dan Guerin, Justin Laxton with an 8th position, 9th to Vincent Blumenthal, and rounding out your top 10 and making it nice and easy on us, the final car on the lead lap is the 13 of Alfred Shepard.
Yeah, and the first car lap down, Joshua Borje Bonkowski finishes there in 11th tonight. Jesse Vincent, tough run for him tonight. That championship has gotten a lot tighter now. Finishes 12th place on a lap down. Carl Burt finishes 13th tonight. Mark Nobert, 14th tonight, 16 laps down. Ray Kingsbury, tough night for him. Ended early tonight for Ray, and he's going to finish 15th. Kristen Nelson, 16th place tonight. Trevor Malone finishes in 7th after taking a hard hit from Jack Bogan, who also finishes 18th right behind Trevor. That ended both their races, that incident. And there in 19th, Ian Adams. In 20th, Michael Gray. 21st, Pierre Deigel, 71 laps down. And Marco Brazil never got off the grid.
And we have caught up with the driver of the number 42, Tony Lurcock, and trying to get a word with him. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, you're able to sneak away with a P3 in this one. This was a very interesting race. We saw a couple of cautions at the beginning of this one. Coming home, we had a long green flag stretch. Green flag pit stops, which was huge. You're able to sneak through past some of these guys like Anzaldo and Downey. You were up there throughout the evening. You're able to walk away with the podium in this event. A race that, besides one huge incident in 3, was pretty clean. We had a couple of guys going side by side, a couple of guys making contact, but for the most part, a lot of strategy played a hand in this one. How'd you get that car from a top 5 to maintain it up front and then end up walking away with the third step on the podium?
A lot of practice and the pit stop, so I nailed that green flag pit stop, got out there. Just really, really good stop there, and I'd like to apologize to Ray again because I got into the back of him and I caused that second caution, I believe. But
it's always interesting when you go out to these intermediate tracks and you're running wide open and you're working around a lot of guys. It seemed like when Matt was up front under green flag conditions, people were able to make passes on the outside, on the inside, back in the pack because there was some draft in front of them. But whenever somebody tried to step out on that 21 up at the front of the field, they were met with a wall of air. How did you find the draft to be playing a factor in this one?
Just you could catch up, you can go on the outside, but the cars just wouldn't stick up there for the long run. You could get up even, you could try to pull ahead of the leader, but you just couldn't get around them. Once the draft broke toward the end of the race, I thought maybe we could run down Joe. I made a mistake, hit the apron, and couldn't catch him. But yeah, the draft, it's good, but it causes you to slide up the track more often than not, particularly as the tires wear.
Improving on the numbers for you and the guys. It's going to be your second top 5 on this season championship and your third top 10 overall. The season is starting to come down to a close, and with a good finish like this for you guys, Tony, you look forward to these races that are going to be coming up here in the immediate future. A couple of ovals still on tap. We got a string of them. Going to be at New Hampshire, Pocono, Gateway, Kansas, and Auto Club. All those racetracks very different than what we saw tonight. Do you feel like this maybe can build you guys some momentum and you might be able to walk off swinging with maybe a checkered flag before the end of the year?
Oh, definitely. The practice this week at New Hampshire with the official series is going to help a ton there, getting used to that track. I love Kansas and I love Auto Club. I had a strong finish there last season, so hopefully we'll show up there again this season.
Well, it was a solid run for you and the guys this evening. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs, everybody behind the scenes, anybody you want to thank here?
No, I'm good.
It's a one-man show, and it's the 42 getting the job done, Tony. Thanks for talking with us. Congratulations. Again, your second top 5 on the year. Hopefully, the second, I guess we'll say, of many. You got about 5 races left. We look for that 42 to see up front here later on. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
That is your third place finisher this evening, and a little bit further down, actually one pit stall just alongside me with the driver that started this race in P6. Joe Hassert's down, and Sean Ambrose, you've caught up with him.
I certainly have caught up with Big Joe Hassert, and nice run there for you tonight, Joe. Second place. How you feeling?
Pretty good. Happy that got me.
I got you. Yes, sir.
Sorry. I'm feeling pretty good. Happy the team went 1-2 tonight. If there's somebody I don't mind losing to, it's Matt. He caught up a lot of points on Jesse tonight, and I caught some on the both of them. So overall, good night on the track.
Yeah, Matt's only 8 points now behind Jesse in that championship, and good on you. You have a stranglehold on third right now, and you're on the come. Fast night for you, and second place finish. Gotta be happy with that result. Last Lap Motorsports definitely had a pretty dominant night out here, and right now holds 3 of the spots in the top 5. So talk a little bit about your team.
Well, me, Ray, and Matt, we all kind of tend to be on the same page. We sit in team speak together, and we run practice together. It's pretty, we're pretty close, and we just always try to do what's best, for the other guys. Whether if it's me winning or Matt winning or Ray winning, we just try to, whoever's up front, we try to help them out.
Well, you had a great race here tonight at Atlanta, and next you take it to New Hampshire. I know you guys ran some races at New Hampshire. How do you feel about New Hampshire? How do you like your chances there?
It's sketchy. At 5th in the SOF that I ran, made a call for tires with 5-6 laps left, and they didn't do me any good. So I don't know. Strategy will be interesting. See who stays out, who pits. There's a lot of different ways to run that track. The setup makes it a challenge, so you just got to find the right line and hope it's the right one.
Well, you brought us a great race tonight, and tell us real quick, who makes Big Joe go for these races here on the LionHeart Racing Series?
Well, I think my teammates at LLM, I think Justin at Overdrive, he always, he makes my car look good, and, all the members to make the league possible.
Well, it's going to be a while before we see you here on GSRC, but I know you're going to run hard there at New Hampshire, and we look forward to catching you back on the track next time. Big luck to you there next week, and have a great run. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, and I believe Evan is now in victory lane with our race winner. Evan, take it away.
It was an up and down night for the Kingsbury family, but we talked about the championship. We highlighted that with limited races left, it was go or go home. And although a lot of people had issues tonight, one driver that capitalized on a little bit of a blunder for our championship leader, it goes from 44 points down to single digits. Your winner tonight for the 4th time this season is Matt Kingsbury. Matt, you started on pole, almost led this entire thing if it weren't for those green flag pit stops, which you fell off the top spot just while that cycled through. But that 21 was bad fast. Somebody was able to get next to you, but nothing else from there on. How is that car so good?
This track's a tough one really to pass at, and you can do it. Just I think we needed more laps on the tires for the rears to start sliding a bit, or the fronts to start pushing. And Justin was there, so I knew my car was starting to slow down, so I brought it down pit road and just hoped it slowed down in time, and luckily it did. But Joe did a great job keeping it with me. I'm not really sure what happened to Jesse, but it looks like it's going to be a really close points battle, closer than I thought. I wasn't hoping to close in on him until finale, so this is good for me.
Gives you the opportunity to now go head-to-head with him, because it's a two-man race at this point. We know there's still a lot of time to go here, but you're 8 points off of the top spot. Joe's 84 back, or rather, he's 92 back off the top spot, 84 back from you, and then Race, it's 161 off the top spot. So at least for now, it looks like you guys can go head-to-head. You talk about your approach to this race. It was solid, and evidently now you're in this picture. How do you approach this now that instead of maybe trying to sneak on at the end here and apply the pressure late, not only are you up here, but now you find yourself in a position where you need to maintain this top running and be able to run with them week in and week out. Some of the tracks that we have coming up, New Hampshire, first off, very, very flat racetrack in 1 week's time. What's it going to take mentally for you guys? And also, what do you think is going to happen in 1 week's time in New Hampshire to be able, again, have to go these next 5 races up there with them and beat them?
Well, I know we've got Gateway in there in New Hampshire, so I'm usually good at New Hampshire. I think Ray's really fast there right now. I'm really looking forward to Gateway. I really don't think many guys are going to be able to drive that fast around there because it's a very difficult track, and I think that I could probably take the win there with relative ease. I mean, you got tracks like Kansas out there; those are going to be the ones where Jesse's going to stand his best chance, really, because of the draft. And as we saw at Michigan, he's pretty good at those tracks. So, and I really don't want it to come down to Auto Club if I can help it. I think I can pull out a gap on him before then. So we'll see.
Well, now you're up to 4 trips to victory lane, so you're tied with the most so far on this championship campaign with that number 1 machine. You talk about you get later in this and we about a little bit limiting mistakes. When we went through those green flag pit stops, what we were talking about, Matt, was, okay, somebody's in. We were going live with you coming in because I thought that 21 was going to be flying in way over the speed. You talked on it. I said, good entry for Joe Hassler, a little bit conservative. Typically, it's your leader that you see kind of tiptoes in because he doesn't want to throw it away. But, I mean, you threw that thing in there as hard as you could, and it stopped right at the last second. It was a perfect entry. Is that kind of the same mentality you're going to have to take to the rest of this as far as not backing off at all, not letting the points get to your head? Or do you feel like now that you're up here, you have to race a little bit smarter, and instead of going for checkered flags, you kind of have to keep an eye on where Jesse is on track and, kind of do that points racing a little bit?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm just going to... I always race for every win, no matter what. I found that's the best way to be smart about it. You obviously got to be smart about it, but you always want to be towards the front in general, and that'll always be my goal, probably for this championship, is just to keep it out front.
It's exactly what you did tonight. Almost led it all the way, but it was in dominating fashion, Matt. For the 4th time this season, you're a winner in the LionHeart IndyCar Series. Sponsors and shout-outs, everybody behind the scenes. Who makes it happen?
I just got to thank my loyal teammates, Ray and Joe, sticking through us. They're great guys, obviously. And we've had a great battle the past few weeks with Jesse, and, I got to thank him because he's a great competitor, and without him, I don't think this would be nearly as fun.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us again. Congratulations on a dominating performance. We're not going to be back with our cameras for a little bit. We'll see you guys. It was going to be Auto Club. We'll be back in Kansas, but that means you're going to be going 3 races, New Hampshire, Pocono, and Gateway. I'm sure we'll be at the track keeping an eye on you guys. The cameras won't be with us, so until then, we wish you the best of luck going forward in this championship hunt that is a lot closer exiting tonight than it was when you guys ended in.
Thank you.
That is your winner this evening from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, a little bit further back down the pit lane, the driver that comes home in 4th position, George Anzaldo. Sean Ambrose, you've caught up with him.
George, my friend, always great to talk to you. What a run tonight, man. Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it. You know what? I'm just so pumped. I've actually been waiting for this moment. I was really focused tonight and just concentrated on a good pin in and pit out, and obviously avoiding the wreck. So definitely really happy with this performance. And I actually led a lap. I've been waiting to do that since we started this league, so it was kind of exciting.
Yeah, you did lead a lap. Congratulations to you. You get that bonus point for it. And I don't know if you look at the point standings yet, but man, you're 1 point off of 10th place right now. So you are battling, sir, another spot in the points, and now you're staring at the top 10. Great run for you tonight. But hey, listen, got to talk to you about the league. Lots of things going on, lots of great things. We talked about Race Chasers Online coming on board earlier, now doing stories for the LionHeart series. And I know you still got all those great stickers that you had made up. I know you want to talk about that real quick and let everybody know how they can get a free sticker.
Well, obviously, as you know, guys, the league is it's a free league, so definitely, like for instance, how we've had this league run is through donations from the admins and also from the members, and it's definitely critical to keep the league running and to also help provide things like the broadcasts and the trophies and other things that we do. So we kind of thought of an idea of how maybe we can get some of those donations coming in while also giving something back. So Justin at Overdrive Graphics helped create these amazing decals. They're high quality. They're on 3M vinyl. And so essentially, if we get donations, we send out stickers. Typically, we do it through PayPal, and the PayPal email address is LionHeartIndyCarSeries@gmail.com, and you can send in a $5 to $10 donation, and we'll send you out a couple stickers.
And of course, they can always get information about that and find you at LionHeartRacingSeries.com. Lots of good information there on the site. Even have a little shop there where you can pick up said stickers and maybe even a t-shirt if you're interested, provided by Overdrive Graphics. So, but lots going on. I do want to talk just a little bit about what you've got planned. I know you don't have anything set in stone yet, but I know you've got big plans for next season. Maybe going to try and work in a few new drivers. And you got some guys working out with you guys in practice sessions right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, definitely. As you see, we're really deep into the season, and we're kind of preparing already for season 3, and we're looking to add some new drivers to the series. That being said, we wanted to add them in now, however, not have any of those drivers affect the championship season that we're in right now. So, yeah, we've got about 10 to 12 drivers, really talented. Basically, right now, they're running all the practice sessions with us, all the practice races. And the only thing we have is we're just having them sit out Wednesdays for now until the start of next season. So we're definitely going to see a few guys in there mixing it up with the core group, and I think it's going to be great. Some of those guys are Frank Levick, Jake C. Wright, Adam Plunkett, Marco Aurelio Brazil, and Peter Edwins, all guys that have been coming in and running with us, and really I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with come next season. So definitely excited to have that. And obviously people can still join the league now. Again, just go to the website, LionHeartRacingSeries.com. You can apply there. We'll take a look. And obviously, if those people are a good fit to the league, then we'll bring them on board. So definitely looking to expand. We're pushing every day. We're trying to find new things to make the league bigger and better, which obviously in turn creates a better experience for the members, because essentially that's what we're here for, is to create this series for the guys that run it for us. We're just, as an admin, I'm having fun and just watching it grow and kind of being a part of it. But essentially, again, it's for the guys and the ladies that run the league.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, it's a great thing you're doing with this league, and I got to be honest, I don't think I'm out of line here when I say that the LionHeart Racing Series has become the premier DW12 Indy Racing Series on iRacing. I don't think there's any better competition out there that than you're seeing right here every Wednesday night on GSRC. And I know we talked about this earlier, just this week here at Atlanta. Your drivers in this league have had tremendous success in the official series. I think that speaks a lot to the quality of driver you've got here. And again, congratulations to you. I know it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes, George, but you're doing a great job. I hope you stay the course. Really looking forward to seeing some of these new guys on the track next season. But hey, let me stop myself short here and just say you still got plenty of great racing action ahead, and it looks like you've got a great championship battle shaping up here.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, last season it came down to 1 point. I'm excited to see how this one shakes out, but certainly, we couldn't do this without the other admins, Joe and John. Definitely, it's huge what we're doing as a team, and it's just great to see, how the league has blossomed and how we're just kind of continuing to push forward and certainly just looking to make things better. So yeah, and I'll tell you real quick, running our races, and as you mentioned, the success that a lot of the drivers had in the official series, it's like running a top split race every week, and and myself, that's why just being up there, even one lap, I feel that it's more of an accomplishment than the wins I've had in the official series. It's just that's how I feel about the competition in this series. So definitely pumped.
Well, we know you put it in. We know that you put in more hours than anybody on this deal, and we can't thank you enough. Looking forward to seeing you next week there, and again, congratulations to you tonight. We're gonna step back over here with Evan now, and I believe he's gonna bring in Dan Guerin and talk a little bit to Dan about the race he had. But again, we saw a great one here tonight, and we can't thank the LionHeart Racing Series enough for bringing us this exciting racing every week. And now I'll hand it over to Evan and let him talk to Dan.
We've caught up back down on the pit lane with a driver that started on the outside of the front row and a significant improvement after being 11th in practice. We've caught up with the driver of the number 8, Dan Guerin. Dan, you come home in 7th in this one. You were up there, though, in contention, not only early, but into the middle stages of the race. Found a little bit of contact, though. We saw quite a few drivers have that same thing, just very small contact. Is that what affected that 8 machine that kind of knocked you guys just a little bit off pace to not be able to compete for it, especially on that long run?
Yeah, definitely. I came off turn 2 and just brushed the wall just a little bit. And in the draft, it didn't make much of a difference. I really couldn't tell. But when I was following George there, get towards the end of the race, trying to get around the lap car of Josh, and George pulled away just a little bit. And once I lost his draft, the car just got crazy loose on me, and I just couldn't control it. So just held on the best I could till the end.
Were able to hang on to it. Atlanta is a very tricky track to pass, and you started up there by Matt. You fell very quickly to 3rd on the start of the event. We saw that people were able to make passes with some rather success on the inside primarily, but on the outside sometimes mid-pack because there was some draft up in front of them. But it seemed like, and Matt even admitted it when we talked to him up front, he said, it's just too hard for those guys to get around me. He kept that thing locked down low and he dominated. When you were up front and your car was at 100%, were you noticing the same thing?
Yeah, the practice races, you can keep it down on the inside pretty good until the tires started wearing and fuel started dropping down. But, yeah, I definitely agree with Matt. Once you're on the inside, it was really hard to get any kind of passing done. I was lucky enough to get qualified 2nd. I thought I had the pull, but Matt just barely beat me there. And good job to him on the win. But, getting in that pack race and everything like that, it was definitely tough to try to get anywhere.
And you're going to come home tonight again with that P7 for the 8th top 10. Still sitting, though, with only 1 top 5. And I know you definitely want to get to victory lane before this season wraps up. But you got to look forward to this. Although it's 236 markers to the top spot in the championship, you do gain a position tonight. You're up to 7th and not all that far off of Trevor Malone. Laxton's in between you guys. A top 5 is still possible for this race team in the championship, which would be something really good to fight for now with 5 races left to go. What's the mentality rolling forward, trying to shoot for that goal?
Well, just going to have to play it week by week on that one. We got New Hampshire coming up next week, and I ran a fixed race this week, and I'm getting 2nd. Kind of a tough track to deal with, but we got Pocono coming up here. I love Pocono. I ran good there most of the time, and really haven't ran any gateways. So Michigan, I didn't do too bad. Ended up getting wrecked out early in the season, but try to get a top 5 on the points this year, but we'll see what happens. It's my first season, so.
Well, it's a good run for you, and you're going up against, again, some of these guys that are not only strong in this series, but, I mean, they're top competitors in the official iRacing IndyCar series as well. Top 5 is still in reach. It's your 8th top 10 on the championship season, which is probably a top 3 statistic, I think, out of everybody in this campaign. So congratulations to improving on that. And before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to first give a shout out to Matt and Ray. They helped me along first off when I first joined in the IndyCars. They took me under their wing, and part of Last Lap Motorsports till a few weeks ago when I jumped ship on them and joined the team. Nailed It. So I'm with Jesse and Ian and Corey now, and hopefully going to get some good runs with them, and definitely see what's going to happen now.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in pursuit of that top 5 in the championship, as well as what you're hoping to be would be a first trip to victory lane. You had the speed tonight, however, the cards did not fall in your favor. Thanks for talking with us, Dan. We wish you the best of luck going forward. 5 races left to get it done.
Yep, thanks a lot. And again, you guys do an excellent job on broadcasting. So again, thank you.
It makes our job really good when you guys, put on the excited race in action. So we appreciate the kind words, Dan. Again, congrats. And we won't see you, I guess, with the cameras directly next week. We're not going to be back on air till Kansas. I'm sure me and Sean will try to swing by and keep an eye on you guys. So in theory, we'll see you in Kansas, but we'll keep an eye on you guys next week. Good luck.
Thank you.
And now down a little bit further down the pit lane, the final driver we got stacked up that finishes one spot behind. It's a P8 for Justin Laxton. Sean, you're caught up with him.
Yes, I have caught up with the great Justin Laxton from Overdrive Graphics. Well, Justin, I don't think that run turned out quite the way you expected tonight, but you did get a spot up in the championship points, and now you're almost you've got a top 5 there right in front of you. You got to feel happy about that.
Yeah, everything was going good till that last set of laps, and just got a little bit stuck in pit road. I don't really know what happened. Got to the pit stall, and the 15-second hold came on for too fast. So I don't know if I sped or what happened, but that's all right. We gained a spot in the points, like you said, and we'll just keep kind of pushing along, top 10s the rest of the season, and we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, well, certainly love that new paint scheme that you were running this evening. You want to tell us a little bit about your new sponsor?
Yeah, the company I work for, put them on the car this week. Winers Ltd is a wholesale business-to-business travel size supplier, and then alltravelsizes.com, so everybody else can go and buy pretty much anything they want in travel size. We should have a new website up for All Travel Sizes here next couple months. I think we'll have it done, and you have more selections than ever before.
Yeah, and this affiliation here with you and Overdrive Graphics, and now we've got Race Chaser online on board now, doing articles here for iRacing and featuring the LionHeart Racing Series. Got to be happy to be part of all this.
Yeah, Jacob at Race Chaser has been great to work with the last couple weeks. He's more than happy to put articles up, and the other thing, I almost forgot the guys at Laps for MD. They're doing a lot too to help kind of push the league and bring some people into it and watching the races that normally wouldn't. So.
Yeah, I almost feel bad that I kind of forgot about them. I've got a couple guys running Laps for MD on their cars here, and again, a great cause that we've talked about in weeks past. But they're also bringing a lot of attention to the LionHeart series, and this attention just is going to breed more competition. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for what's about to come here in season 3? Are you up to the challenge, Justin?
Oh, I mean, I think you're always up to the challenge, but you don't really know what you get yourself into. So we'll see how that goes. But you guys too at GSRC are doing a great job broadcasting every week, and I wish we could get a few more races on GSRC, but I know schedules and budgets don't always align. So hopefully next season we'll see more of you guys.
Yeah, well, we hope to see more of you. Hey, Justin, thanks a lot for coming up in the booth. We're going to wrap this thing up. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to real quick?
As always, my wife, my daughter. Without them, I wouldn't be able to run this. Definitely want to say thanks to George and Joe for everything they do on a weekly basis, as well as John at Sim Posters for helping these guys out as well.
Well, thanks a lot, Justin. We certainly appreciate the sentiment. And, hey, good luck to you next week, okay? We'll see you down the road here real soon. Thanks, Justin.
See you in Kansas.
All right, Evan. Well, man, we saw a great one tonight. Why don't you put a nice little pretty bow on this thing?
We've done the full fit rundown. We'd almost talked to half the field here. It's kind of nice having a little bit of extra time, but we took advantage of it. And we went a little bit over, but it was a very exciting race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Good competition as always, Sean. And again, echoing the thoughts, I guess we'll say, of Justin Laxton, because we can't wait to get back out here with these guys. We're in luck in the fact that we have 1 week less that we have to wait for, because originally, again, scheduled that we'd have to go all the way to Fontana. I don't know if we'd be able to survive 4 races off in a row with the championship as close as it is. We will be back in Kansas for round 17th on the 3rd of June for a 100 lap affair there. But we go forward now to the races that we're not going to be able to see. And this championship picture, who knows what it'll look like when we fire the camera back on, but again, a huge change from starting tonight and ending tonight. New Hampshire, Pocono, and Gateway, 3 very different tracks that are going to be going on while we're gone. A lot of the drivers say they like a couple, so the other drivers like the opposite. So it's very interesting how this championship picture looks forward going into the final 2 events that are, again, going to be broadcasted back-to-back with us.
Yeah, well, we're not going to be short on things to talk about when we get back to racing here on GSRC. A lot is going to happen over these next several races, and I expect the championship battle to come right down to Fontana, and we're going to have a week to warm up to just get ready for that last race. So I can't wait to get back here to live racing on GSRC with the LionHeart Racing Series. These guys always bring it hard every week, and you can always count on an exciting race here with the LionHeart Series. Really proud to be part of it, and really happy to work with you, Evan. Great job tonight, and again, can't wait to get back with these guys when we get back on the air with them.
And again, we need to thank everybody. The drivers got people that make it possible. We have people that make these things possible. Everybody that helps out getting us on air tonight. People with the streaming equipment that help us broadcast. First off, iRacing.com for everything they do to facilitate these independent leagues. XSplit, the Audio Technica Corporation, and Aver Media USA for allowing us to present these in 720p HD every time. The LionHeart administration team that make this league tick. John Downing, George Anzaldo, Joe Hassert, and Drew Motz do a lot behind the scenes to be able to bring this kind of a racing product forward every single week. As well, need to thank Dougie Beard, as always, for setting up the cameras for us, and music that is provided by Eric Ekholm. Check him out online at ericekholm.com. Stay up to date with everything that's going on in the world of the Global Sim Racing Channel online at globalsimracingchannel.com, or Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel, and everything on the LionHeart Racing Series at LionHeartRacingSeries.com. There's a lot of racing action to come up between these 2 broadcasts for the LionHeart Series while we're off. This week on GSRC, Saturday, May the 2nd, the MX5 World Tour Series for Season 9, Round 9. That one going on at 11:15 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:15 in the afternoon Eastern. Followed up later on in the evening, we'll be back at it, Sean, the Bootleg SK Modified Series, Season 2, Round 4. From the Oxford Plains Speedway. That one going live at 6 o'clock Pacific and 9 o'clock Eastern. Then Wednesday, May the 6th, the American Sim Racing Series Truck Series, Round 6 from the Kansas Speedway at 6 o'clock Pacific and 9 o'clock Eastern. The next time we will be out for the LionHeart IndyCar Series is in Kansas in June, but again, the next time they're going to be out on track for Round 14 is New Hampshire. Stay up to date with everything in these next 3 weeks, not only on LionHeart's website, but as well at racechaseronline.org. On behalf of the broadcast crew this evening, myself, Evan Pasoko, my cohort in crime, Sean Ambrose, and our director for keeping up with us all night and going through, what was that, 6, 7, 8 interviews or so. I'm Jed Yaman. Thank you for tuning in. We wish congratulations to Matt Kingsbury. It is a very tight championship with 5 races to go. We bid you good night from Hotlanta, and we'll see you in Kansas with 2 races to go.